Do you want to go from this?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
To this? Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Screamheart, and I'm going to be taking you through every step of this build. Just so you know, before you start this build, you're going to want to have this staff and this helmet. The Greatstaff is absolutely required to run the build, and the helmet adds to your effectiveness significantly. Let's start by talking about the items and why they're effective. The Greatstaff of the Crone gives you +9 ranks of Claw. It also allows you to hit with Storm Strike at the same time that you hit with Claw. This means that you're using 2 basic attacks instead of 1. Not only that, but Storm Strike is 50% more effective than normal. Tempest Roar is going to allow us to turn our base Storm skills into Werewolf skills. This has cascading effects throughout the build. Mad Wolf's Glee is going to give us +2 to every ability that we have. In addition, the base stats on all of these items synergize well with the build. I should note that I don't have the Temerity Pants yet, or the Heart of Sealig. Both of them could be very effective on this build. I'll have a section for stat prioritization on your other items later in the video. But for now, let's jump into the skill tree. In the skill tree, we're going to want to max out Storm Strike and Claw. Both of these basic attacks are used every time we auto. For Storm Strike, we're picking up Enhanced Storm Strike and Wild Storm Strike. For Claw, we're picking up Enhanced Claw and Wild Claw. In this build, we completely bypass our core skills, but we do grab Predatory Instinct, as well as Digitigrade Gate. Try saying that 4 times fast. Under our defensive skills, we're grabbing Earthen Bulwark, Enhanced Earthen Bulwark, and Preserving Earthen Bulwark. We're also grabbing Cyclone Armor, Enhanced Cyclone Armor, and Preserving Cyclone Armor. Finally, we're choosing Blood Howl, Enhanced Blood Howl, and Preserving Blood Howl. We'll also want to pick up Ancestral Fortitude and Vigilance. Once again, we completely bypass the Companion Tree. Under our Wrath skills, we're going to pick up Hurricane, Enhanced Hurricane, and Savage Hurricane. For our passives, we're picking up Elemental Exposure, Charged Atmosphere, Electric Shock, and Bad Omen. Feel free to play around with the numbers in these passives. Then we're also grabbing these passives, Neurotoxin, Toxic Claws, and Envenom. For our ultimate skill, we're taking Grizzly Rage with Prime Grizzly Rage and Supreme Grizzly Rage. We'll also grab 3 points of Defiance here. The most important part of this build outside of the basic attacks is Lupine Ferocity. I'll take some time to explain how all of the skills work later. Moving on to the Paragon board. For our starting board, we're taking the Werewolf Glyph. Because we're taking Werewolf, we want to grab every willpower within the range of the glyph. On our way out of this board, we're going to want to grab Impel. Our next board is Heightened Malice. We also want to grab Overturn on our way up to our glyph. And for our glyph, we're using Exploit. Because we're using Exploit, we want to grab every dexterity within range. And because we're grabbing these nodes up here, we also get Sinking Fangs. Before we move up, we're going to take a short trip over here, and we're going to grab ourselves Tempest and Thunderstruck. I'm going to finish the Paragon build with the online resource, because I moved some points around since my previous recording, and I'm also not level 100 yet, so it's more accurate. Above our Heightened Malice board, we're getting Inner Beast, and we're using it for the glyph. Here we're socketing Undaunted, and we're grabbing all of the intelligence in the area, which conveniently allows us to get Determination and Shapeshifter. On our way out of this board, we're picking up Nimble, and the attack speed around it. To the left of Inner Beast, we've got Constricting Tendrils, and we're also picking up the Territorial Glyph. For the Territorial Glyph, we want to grab every dexterity node in the area. As a bonus, we're getting Courage and Nature's Will. We also got Devastation as a bonus on the way to Tendrils. We also want to go to the side and pick up Superiority. From here, we go up, and we get Lust for Carnage. Here, we go left to grab all of the attack speed. Then we work our way up through Regenerative and to the Dominate Glyph. Here, we're not necessarily trying to collect a lot of intelligence. We just need the 25 in order to get the additional bonus, which increases the amount of damage enemies take from you by 12%. Now, if we have points left over, we can go back through and grab anything that's worth grabbing that's near what we already have. An example could be 8% damage to elites, or other magic nodes nearby. For our Spirit Boons, with the Stag, we're taking Wariness. With the Eagle, we're taking Swooping Attacks. With the Wolf, we're taking Calamity. And we're bonding with our Serpent in order to get Masochistic and Calm Before the Storm. If you feel you don't need the ultimate cooldown, you can take Overload as additional damage. The same goes for Masochistic. If you don't need the survivability, you can change to Overload to gain additional damage. For stat prioritization, I tried to set it up so that the best stats are closer to the top, and the worst stats are closer to the bottom. For the chest armor, we're mostly looking for damage reduction, and you'll want to pick up the aspect of might, or another good defensive aspect. On the gloves, we want to get lucky hit chance, and a bunch of stats that increase our DPS. For the aspect, we'll be using overcharged aspect. For our pants, they're very similar to the chest armor, so we'll be taking mostly damage reduction. As for our aspect, we're going to do aspect of disobedience. We can also use multiple alternative defensive aspects. For our boots, our main focus is movement speed. For the aspect, we'll be using Storm Shifter's aspect. The amulet can have almost anything on it, which means there's a lot of options. We're putting our rapid aspect on the amulet so that it gets the 50% increase. That'll put it at 45% attack speed. Last but not least, we have our rings. On our rings, we want to make sure we have lucky hit and our main damage priorities. For our aspects, we're going to want to have Rampaging Werebeast on one, and Dire Wolf's aspect on the other. So what is it that makes this build tick? The most important thing is our claw. Because our claw is also Storm Strike, that means we're doing significant damage, and it also means that the attack chains to 5 enemies. And that's where Lupin Ferocity comes in. Since all of our abilities are werewolf abilities, we're constantly triggering this keystone passive. That means guaranteed critical strikes, and those critical strikes have 60% more damage. Outside of Lupin Ferocity, we're also triggering Overcharged, Poison on crits, Vulnerable, Immobilize, Lightning Bolts, and Constricting Tendrils. And if you're using it, we also trigger Overload. And this is not even taking into account a chance for Overpower, which we trigger more often because we're attacking more often. Our Blood Howl is a free potion that comes up really often, as well as a 15% attack speed bonus. Our Earthen Bulwark is a shield. It also fortifies us and makes us unstoppable. Really good for in between our ultimates. Hurricane deals damage to nearby enemies. It also reduces nearby enemies' damage. In addition, because of the aspect we have on, it increases all of our other abilities by 2 points. That means our basic attack is gaining 4 points total just from this. Our Grisly Rage makes us very powerful. We gain Unstoppable, 20% bonus damage, 3% bonus damage every second, 8% Fortify every second, and because of our Rampaging Werebeast aspect, we're also getting an extended duration on the ultimate, and every single critical hit increases our critical strike damage by 10% for the duration. This can stack up very quickly with how many enemies we hit with every basic attack. Something to note about Claw is the lucky hit chance is extremely high compared to other abilities. There's also a fairly high lucky hit chance on the Storm Strike. Our final ability is Cyclone Armor. Not only is Cyclone Armor a passive damage reduction, but you can also use it in a bind if you get body blocked by enemies in order to push them away. And this is what it looks like when it's in action. I hope you guys enjoy this build as much as I do. I might improve on it a bit over time, but for now this is where it's at. If you like my content, don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, or stop by my Twitch. I'm looking forward to making more content for you guys. I'll catch you in the next video. But we do grab Predatory Instinct, and whatever way you want to pronounce that word. as well as grade gate, as well as Diggy grade gate, as well as a made up word gate.